Alright, so this video will be on how to chart for a volleyball match. Charting is essentially the opponent's tendencies and what they do in each rotation. This video introduction will have everything that is on my chart, and then after I introduce everything in my chart, I will do an example for you with Long Beach State versus Alberta. So the first thing I'm going to go over is right here. I have the team we're playing, the tournament we're at, and the date. All of that is pretty self-explanatory. It helps me organize my charts throughout the season and to see, like, for instance, in our region we might play the same team a couple of times, and it's nice to have multiple charts on a team so then you can mesh them all together. So that's this top section. The next thing I'll go over is in each box there's servers, and the servers are numbered 1 through 5 for each set. So next to number 1 I would put whatever server is serving for us when the opponent is in rotation 1. So that can help us decide if our float server is good against their row 1, or if our jump serve is good against their row 1, or if a certain type of server is good against them in their row 1. Sometimes it doesn't really matter because a blocking matchup might be more important than who's serving, but it's just another way to have more information. The next thing we'll go over are the 2 courts. I have the big courts. So for me, what I think is important is when they're in system, who are they setting, and when they're out of system, who are they setting. So I have the opponent on a 4-point passing scale. 4-point pass would be the setter barely has to move. 3-point pass would be the setter still has to move, but they can still set quick. And then we have a 2-pass or a 1-pass. So those would be out of system sets. Most of the time a 1-pass would just result in a down ball, which I wouldn't chart, or it would be a free ball, but sometimes teams can turn 1-passes into sets. So that's why I have 2 different courts. Now that we're at the bottom here, you'll see turn, player, pass, set, player, then you'll see something called Kobe, and then the result. My charts have S's next to the rows as well, if they're stacked in a different sort of way or their formation is funny. So the turn would be, and you'll see in the example, but the turn would be which serve are they on for us. So like if it's our first time serving them in this rotation, it would be a 1, and then if we earn a point, we go back, there'd be a 2, and then a 3, and then a 4, and so on until they side out. Once they side out, obviously I would go to the next rotation, but the next time around I would then make the next turn number 1. The other thing we got is player, so it'd be the player that passes the ball, and then what kind of set they set and to which player. So if player number 17 passes it and it's a 4-point pass, they set a go ball and it goes to number 11. And now let's talk about Kobe. So Kobe would be kill, wash, block, or error. Sometimes you might see this and it might look like Kobe, so instead of an O it's an A. It's the same thing. So if it's a kill, obviously it's a kill. A wash would be you hit it over, they dig it. A block would be for a point, and then an error would be an obvious error. They hit out or they hit in the net. The last thing in this chart area down here would be result. If we earn a point, that box is a minus. If they side up, the opponent sides out, then it would be a plus. Very simple. The next thing is opponent transition. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. If I want more information on a certain player or a certain rotation, I might work a little harder with this, but sometimes I don't touch it just because transition is so random. Underneath your transition box, you have these 3 boxes. You have outside, middle, and opposite. This is all for your front row players. If the outside and the back row runs a BIC or the opposite runs a D-ball, I will write that down and I'll make sure I got that. So this is where I put my distribution. What I mean by distribution is if there's 100 total sets, what percentages are going to each position. So your outside gets, let's say, 50% of all the sets. They've hit the ball 50 times. And then the other 2, however that gets dispersed, is what I would write down there. Just so I can give some information to my middles and my pins on where we think this ball might be going. The last thing in this box is side out notes. You can do whatever you want there. I've put any and everything in this little area, so I just like having a place where I can write down anything that I see. The only thing I didn't talk about that I forgot was the circles in each rotation. So in row 1, those 2 circles in zone 4, and then you can just see them there. So that's by default where most players go if they're in row 1. The only circle not there would be where the front row outside is, and that's because they might be swinging over here, or they might be swinging over there. And I just want to make it so where I can then do that circle manually. Alright, in the first clip, I start in row 1. So when a team starts in a certain rotation for each set, I'll just put a little star next to it, and then I'll put that as their formation. So your front row players are 11, 10, and 13. Your back row players are 19, 5, and 9. 9 is the libero, and your server is 19. 19 serve the ball in the net, so I just do SE+. In the next rotation, number 16 is serving, 10, 11, and 25 are front row, 9, 19, and 5 are back row. Player number 19 passes a 3. They set the D ball to number 5. He gets a kill. Result in a plus. In rotation 1, number 10 serves. They serve number 11. He passes a 3. They set a go to number 5, and it's a kill in the cross court. So the only thing I forgot to go over in that last clip is if it's a kill, I do a little line at the end of the line. So make a T, if you will. If it's a dug ball, I will just have it be an N. There's nothing, it's just a line. And then if it's an air, I'll have an X. In rotation 2, number 8 serves. There's their formation. If the setter is front row or back row, I still mark who the setter is by underlining them. In this rotation, 11 passed to 1, and in the rally, which is there, they set the middle, and they set the outside who got a high hands hit that came back on their side. So that's what my transition would look like. In rotation 3, 14 serves. There's your formation. 19 gets set on a go ball, and he hits into the cross court, and he gets a kill. So there's your table. First turn, 11 passes, 3. They set the go to number 19. He gets a kill. In rotation 4, number 6 is serving. There's your formation. There's your chart. So you got turn 1, number 11 passes a 3. They set a D. He gets a kill hitting down the line. The result is on the side out, so it'd be a plus. In the next row 5, 19 is still serving. There's your formation. That is where number 13 will kill the ball. And there is your table for it. In the next row 6, 16 is still serving. 19 is the one that gets set on the bick. And there's your table. Here's row 1. The only difference now is 13 is serving. I know that's hard to see. Same formation. He makes a serving error. In the next row 2, number 8 is still serving. Here's your table. They serve number 19. He passes a 2. They set a high ball to him, and he gets a kill. Now, this is different for everyone. This is what I do if it goes through our block in the seam, and that's exactly what happened. In row 3, the second time, the first turn, they serve number 9. It's a 3 pass. They set the bick to number 11, and it's an error. He errs over here. That's where I put my little X. The second time he serves in that same turn, he has a service error. And row 4 again, he misses a serve.